Hi guys, welcome to the show and tell. Today I want to talk about this piece, which is a saggar fired slip cast head. I've been playing around with heads as a side project for a couple of years now, and most of them have been based upon a mould I took of a really cheap and nasty polystyrene hairdresser's dummy. But at least it gave me a form I could play around with and stick snakes on for a Medusa, for example. But I was conscious that it was very, very rudimentary, a bit crude. I wanted something more lifelike. So I figured, why not get a head, my head cast, produce a mould from that, and then see what I could do with it. Now, it didn't necessarily have to be my head. I wasn't trying to pull an Anthony Gormley, but I didn't think anyone I knew would be prepared to subject themselves to at least 2 hours sitting on a chair covered in latex, breathing through straws up the nose. So I did it. So I met up with a lady called Becky Truman in Hebden Bridge, and this is last July. She took the cast of my head. Now, rather than simply producing a plaster head at the end of it, going, there you go, that'll look good on your mantelpiece, I'd actually asked her to produce a latex head at the end of the process, so I could then go ahead and create a mould, but it'd have some flexibility in it so I could remove it from the mould. So I left that problem with Becky. She did wonders. So initially she produced a plaster head, but then was able to produce another stage, a latex head, which I then took to a guy called Ed Bentley in Prestatyn, who is all things mould making, to help me improve my mould making, but an end result of producing a mould of the latex head that Becky had created, so I could then start pouring my own. Now that was in October. We created the mould, left it in the man cave for a month to dry out, then poured ahead just before Christmas maybe. Came out first time, first pour, it's perfect. And then sat on the shelf for months while I decided what I was going to do with it. I'd never once thought about anything along the lines of raku or saggar, because I thought the process would be far too severe for something that was slip cast. So then I created a test piece. I created a slip cast bud vase. Saggified it. I put it on a bed of sawdust, added the ingredients to a layer of ferric chloride, made a baked potato, stuck it in the kiln. An hour later, it survived and it looks pretty good. So that emboldened me to try it on the head. So we had a raku and saggar day the other day, and while we were putting the small pots in, I sat this down on a bed of sawdust on the tin foil. I'd previously poured over the ferric chloride, 2 layers, and then just set about sprinkling copper sulfate, iron sulfate, Epsom salts. What was the other thing? Miracle Grow. Added on bits of sheep's wool, wrapped the thing up, put it in the kiln with the rest of the things. An hour later, out it came. And the big thing is it survived. It's amazing. Really pleased with it. One thing though about a head this size, or a piece this size, is unlike the bud vase, where I'm sprinkling all these ingredients on and it covers the bulk of the body. With the head, as I was sprinkling on the copper sulfate and so on, it was just falling right down and landing on the chest or remaining on the crown. But it didn't touch the rest of the head. Now the end result was, or is, that I've got this great effect down here on the chest and also on the crown. Not so much on the rest of the head, but all the consumables burning within that tinfoil has left some marks on the face, which are really interesting. And also the thing that initially I hated had to do with the fact that I'd noticed when I was adding the ingredients that everything was falling. And I had the sheep's wool that normally I would break off strands and place it around in interesting places. By then I'd become frustrated. I just draped it over the head and thought, let's see what happens. And this is what happened. We just get this dark swathe where this big piece of sheep's wool was hanging down the side, and it just burnt away there. And initially I wasn't happy, but now I really like it. I think it's a really good contrast between what's going on down here with all the different particles on the head and the shadows on the face, and there's just this big swathe down the left hand side. So overall, I'm really pleased. I'm delighted it survived, but I'm really pleased with the overall effect. So my next experiment is going to be pour another one. Let's try some cobalt this time. I'd like to bring out some more of the blues. There you go, Saggar fired slip cast head. Hope you like it.